Hello and welcome to this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show. I am your host, Christine Innes. Super excited to have this absolute beautiful soul, Vryannaia, and I'm making sure that I got that right. I've been practicing. You are just such a beautiful soul, and I'm really excited to have you here because I think, we both can, agree that there's so much happening in the world right now. And one of the things that we need to do is that we need to sort of look more inwards within ourselves to really start exploring, I think, our beautiful gifts that we actually forget that we have. And I know, we've spoken a little bit and you've shared me a little bit about your story, but I thought, did you want to just take people, first of all, before we get chatting, just a little bit about your story of where you got to where you are right now?
Yes, absolutely. So throughout my life, I guess it's like, being a human on this planet, going through a lot of different growth edges and that trials and tribulations. And I bring this up because I'm the type of person who learns through basically pushing the edges, so to speak. So throughout my life, I've had various different experiences and pretty much have hit rock bottom in every area of life, right? And it's taught me a lot. And it's really led me to the path of spirituality, the path of going within, the path of really connecting with source and really, again, just looking deeply for answers. And so that led me into going into, studying psychology, but really wanting to expand that more and really connecting more on a holistic view of the mind and this connection to the body and to the whole. And then about 6 years ago, it really led me to do deep work with the subconscious. So I started to really dive deep. I worked with a mentor and really got to look at my life and see how, again, how the dysfunction that I had been experiencing, everything in my past, how it all came to be based on subconscious beliefs. And that being the core and the root to a lot of things. And then that work has been powerful. It's been life-changing for me and for clients that I've worked with. And then also more recently, I've gotten connected to doing work that involves unplugging from the matrix. And this work, I would say, and I've been involved in the field of self-development and holistic wellness for over 20 years. This work is like nothing I've experienced before. It's been absolutely life-changing in the greatest ways. So, I've just had the pleasure and joy of experiencing that transformation in my life, really feeling for the first time in my life absolute soul sovereignty. And that, like I said, deep connection to self, to source, and the expression and embodiment of that I have felt and dreamed of my whole life, that I really knew that we're here on the planet to experience and to embody.
Yeah. Look, there's so much there that I want to touch on. But first of all, like you said, about, the subconscious and our stories and those limiting beliefs and, all of those different things that, really sort of we get in bed within us, at an early age. And that sort of then helps forms us as we go through, plus also the other things that we experience in life. But when we have to go through and sort of unpack that again and literally giving us, I guess, in a way, permission of creating this sort of clean slate and then designing the life that we want to live, not what others think. I think that's just so powerful. And especially, I know a lot of people that I'm connecting with at the moment are going through that in this very instance because of everything that's happening in the world.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, it's so powerful because we can have these experiences as adults, or we can even have these deep heart desires to experience things in life, but we might be experiencing roadblocks or we have things come in the way and we're like, why isn't this happening? And it's a very powerful process to connect the dots. It's a very powerful process to go, oh my gosh, well, there was this experience that I had even in my mother's womb that I created this belief about life, and now that is what is impacting me today, decades later or whatever. It's really, really powerful to be able to go back go to the core, heal and shift those beliefs, and then watch your outer reality completely shift and transform. Yeah, it's a magical, powerful, transformative process.
Yeah. And one thing I love about it is that you get to witness it yourself, but it creates this beautiful ripple effect around like your family and your network as well, because they start to see the changes within you. And it's sort of like this whole new energy gets created, and then you actually allowing newer people, so creating even more newer experiences in your life because you've been able to make those changes.
Absolutely. It's amazing to me because I will reconnect with people that I have known for, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. They'll reach out to me, and they're reaching out because they're like, wow, what happened? Like, what happened? What's going on with you? I'm just seeing all these beautiful things happening in your life. I'm tuning into your energy. I'm seeing and witnessing a transformation. And so it's been incredible to be able to assist really deep friends, having family as well reach out. It's been very, very powerful.
Mm. You also mentioned before that obviously, the unplug from the matrix. And I love that so much. Obviously, coming from, corporate, in a way, sort of corporate burnout, like it is, sometimes we need to unplug. So do you want to talk more about what the sort of like the unplug from the matrix really actually means, and what sort of the
Yes.
benefits or that people are going to experience from that?
Yes, absolutely. So unplugging from the matrix, it's a very, what I would call multi-dimensional, multifaceted whole way of, it's a whole system really to, like I said, unplug on so many different levels. And it's really about clearing any interference, anything that is in your life that is not you, so to speak. Right? And so I'm just going to be bold, and I'm going to say that because we have lots of other influences that are impacting us in what we believe and what we feel and what we think in all of these different ways. And so unplugging is about having complete soul sovereignty, where you are no longer influenced, you are no longer having any of that interference in your life in any way. And it's your ability to be able to fully embody your higher self and to express and move through life completely free, right? And unhinged from any belief systems, from any other type of systems that could be impacting you, and any other influences as well. So it works on many, many different levels. And it's kind of like the spiritual concept of living in the world but not being of it. It's like when you're able to, live where you're part of the system, right, or the matrix, so to speak, but you're able to unplug from it and really be free and have soul sovereignty. And then you can choose to engage and create life from that place of absolute freedom. Absolute freedom. So that's really what it's about. And it, like I said, there's many different components to it, but it involves clearing fear out of your life completely. It involves clearing your auric field, being able to clear out any other influences. It involves activating the DNA. It involves embodying the higher self, so I was saying before. And it involves removing also energetic structures like unnatural seals and implants and different things that we're even born with that prohibit us from, again, our full true expression, being able to access and be the multidimensional beings that we are and access the higher dimensions and that sort of thing. So it clears out all of that so that we can, again, be operating from a very sovereign place.
And I love that so much because I'm such a big believer. I mean, obviously, when I was in the corporate world, I was so associated with this corporate identity that when you leave, and I think it's not even just when you I say escape the corporate world, but any sort of anything that you go through in life, and it doesn't have to be a negative experience, it can be a good positive experience. It's almost like you uncover a new layer of who you are. And from what I'm getting is that this sort of like helps sort of transform that new layer and just take it to a new height, so that you can then really, you know, live that true authentic self that you're here to be, and get rid of those labels, get rid of all of those other things that I guess no longer serve you at that higher purpose anymore, because they're not actually there bringing that benefit to you, and really sort of stopping you where you want to go.
Yes, absolutely. You stated that so beautifully and so perfectly. It really is about removing all the conditioning, all the programming, all of the layers. And so you can access, embody, and live and create life from absolute soul freedom. It really is that. And again, like I said, just a deep embodiment of that freedom and that genuine soul expression. Yeah.
And it is so powerful. Like, I mean, I understand where you're getting from, because, you know, I love the spirituality side of things, and, you know, I have energy healings, and I understand like the personal growth that I've gone through, and how I know that, you know, when I'm true and authentic, and I'm speaking my truth, and I'm really living within my true self, you know, like that really shines through. And it's not an easy process either too, and I think that, you know, people get stuck sometimes. They're like going, oh, you know, it's personal development, you know, I'm going to go through and I'm going to do all these sort of things, but it is a lot of hard work too, because it's easier to be sort of comfortable where you are, but in what I sort of express is that you have to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because you're actually learning more about yourself, learning more about where you can actually go, where you can take your life to new heights as well.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And there is that process that happens, especially, you know, with the unplugging work. There can be this deep experience of purging, of releasing, like when you do a physical cleanse and your body releases emotionally. It can be a similar process to that. And yet at the same time, like you said, the other side of that uncomfortability is absolute beauty, and it's incredible. So it's like, you know, you look back on it and it's like, oh, well, that was nothing. That was totally worth it, because, you know, you're in this completely different place. And like I said, just the whole journey is absolutely worth it.
There's some days I say to my partner, I just don't want an adult today. I really just don't want to, you know, no, I have to do the work and, you know, sort of show up. But I know that this is my calling. Like, I know that this is what I'm here to do. When, you know, we all had these moments where it's a rainy day here today, so I just wanted to dive under the covers, so that's okay. But, you know, but it
Yeah.
is, you know, it's learning, you know, to be you know, that uncomfortableness turns into so much growth. And I think that is one of the best things that people can get out of any personal development journey that they go through, is that they actually learn to be so much more comfortable with that growth and that expansion within themselves.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And it's true. And it's kind of like once you get on that path, it does just in that way become easier and easier and easier. And like I said before, you know, my experience, especially from doing the matrix unplugging work, is it's literally like a night and day experience. And being able to peel the layers and being able to experience and feel in my body this experience of like, oh, this is how I know that have always, like, we're meant to experience feeling this. This
Yeah.
is our divine birthright. And to be able to experience that, it's like, again, you know, you can't compare it to anything. And it's like the journey is nothing in order to experience this. That's been my experience with it. It's so incredibly powerful that, again, you know, nothing can deter, you know, could have deterred me from that.
Yeah, no, look,
Essentially.
I can completely relate to that. Have you found that obviously going through all of this sort of, you know, learning yourself, that it has also allowed you to expand even your business so much wider, And also, do you feel like it's also giving you a little bit more confidence as well to actually know the clear direction that you're going within your life and your business?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, and one of the key baseline things that I work on with people is living in what I call intuitive alignment. And intuitive alignment essentially to me is a path of surrender. It's a path of giving your life, your will, your heart to what is going to be the highest, best good of all. It is no longer what is just in my will, what is in my personal desire. It's no, what is going to be in the highest, best good of all. And I personally have been living my life with that prayer for years. And with that foundation and living your life in that way of living and listening to your intuition and making decisions based on your guidance and in every area of life has created so much magic and so much beauty. And what I will say also is that it's not always an easy path, because sometimes you're asked to do big things. For me, it was also, I, at a certain point in my marriage, was asked, I kept praying for the guidance, and I heard at a certain point it's time to let go. And it was really challenging for me, especially being a mother of a daughter who is 5. It was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm being asked to do. And looking back on it now, I can see the absolute perfection, the things that it led and brought into my life, and how I needed to listen to that guidance. And so I apply that in my life as well, because that was one of the most deep soul, growing experiences that I've been through. And it also led me to this work of the matrix unplugging work too, which is one of the foundational things, in the work that I'm doing with people now. So I see the absolute perfection and trust the path. I'm now in a beautifully aligned relationship that's amazing. And I am living what I know and I feel in my body is just an absolutely ecstatic life. And I know that I couldn't have done it without listening and going on that path. So, to answer your question, I apply intuitive alignment to everything, and I apply it to my business, meaning I don't do things in my business unless I get the guidance to do it. So I'm doing a facilitator training right now because I got the guidance to do it. And it's incredible. It's incredible to see how my business has expanded, how it continues to expand exponentially. And it's from that receptive place of listening and following my intuition.
Yeah, I love that so much, because it is sometimes, it is hard to say that, if we use the law of attraction, for example, and people say that you want to manifest something, but what you said, that it has to be for the highest good of you and others, you do know what I mean? It's not just for yourself. And when if you want to manifest something into your life, or you want to bring something in there, it may not actually be for the highest and best good for yourself. It may not be for the highest and best good of somebody else. And that sometimes can actually, people can get frustrated with it. Like, well, why is this not working? Why? And it's sort of like, well, it could not be the right time for this to happen, or it just could not be the right person that you're trying to bring in, to either help you with the business, or the right client. Like, all those different, sort of factors come into place. So I really think that is so important, that, it's for the highest and best good of yourself and for others. And, it's a collective with everybody in there.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so powerful to apply that, like I said, that's my path in life in general. And applying that to business is huge. And it's really beautiful to see how, like I said, beautifully and organically things have grown through with my business and attracting clients with that prayer and that foundation of saying, okay, I'm aligning myself, I'm surrendering to the path of what's in the highest best good, and just showing up and seeing what shows up and who comes and all of those things. And it's been so incredibly powerful. And the fact that growing my business has been an absolute ease because of that. Absolute ease. And every time something new shows up, I tune in about it, whether it's to work with different mentors or different things for my business. I'm always checking in intuitively to align myself to that path and with that path.
Yeah, no, definitely. If somebody who is listening right now who may not have started on this sort of spirituality journey, and they feel this, like for me, if I take a step back, is that like for me, I felt this, there was something calling me, there was something like pushing me, I guess, to go, well, you need to learn more about this. And it really did actually start with visualization for me, and I then sort of went into meditations and a few other things. But if somebody is sort of feeling that, do you have something for them, or a book or a resource or something for them to get them started to sort of start expanding it and to sort of, I guess, dip their toes into the spirituality side of it?
What I would say, and this has just been my experience in the last 20 years of being in this walk in my own spiritual journey, and with spirituality, different spiritual teachers, different spiritual paths. What I have found, again, and part of, and I just feel really called to speak to this, because part of the path of unplugging from the matrix is being able to be aware of false light energies and false light frequencies. And the false light energies and the false light frequencies are very prevalent in the New Age movement, and very prevalent in many of the different spiritual teachers, spiritual leaders, different things that are happening on the planet. And in my experience of unplugging, like I said, from the matrix and from the false light ascension matrix, has been an experience of night and day in my being. And I didn't realize that for those years of my life, that I was really being plugged into that. And in a way, it brought me farther and farther and farther away from my core, from my heart, and from my truth. And so that's what I would say is, if you're on a path of spirituality, and I know I was a seeker for so long too, and trying every different thing and wanting to meet every enlightened master on the planet and going to India and doing all of these different things. And again, what I realized is that in that process of seeking, I actually just found myself feeling more and more lost, more and more lost. So I do, and again, I know that I'm speaking from my experience, and I just wanted to convey that, because it really wasn't until, like I said, unplugging from all of that, going really deeply within, unplugging from all those different forces and influences, that I really did feel like I could connect deeply with the truth within myself and universally as well.
Yeah, no, I love that so much. And, everybody has their own journey that they go on, and everybody's going to find what works for them. And I guess my biggest thing that I really love what you do is that you've lived and breathed through so many different experiences as well. So you're not offering just by things that you've learned, but it's also those experiences that you've gone through. So you can really allow that, to relate to what's happened in someone's life or where they're going, to make that sort of, the heart-centered, spiritual sort of connection with your clients as well.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that I would say about it is that, and if you're somebody, who's been on your path for a long time, and you're still struggling, and you're still finding that you have different issues, whether it be relationship issues or dramas or financial problems or lack of clarity, or you're feeling stuck, anything like that, and again, this can happen to, people that are on their spiritual path, that have absolute beautiful hearts, beautiful intentions, want to serve the world, want to, create a better world for everyone. And the reason I say that as well is because I consider myself, one of those people, and I fell into that category. And at the same time, before doing this work, I was still stuck. I was still stuck. I was still struggling. Things were not flourishing in my life. And so again, that's why I speak to that, because there's a lot of the like I said, false light frequencies and energies that are happening on the planet. And until we can really unplug from all of that, then we can't really be the true powerful force to the greatest way possible. Right. And so that's why I'm so passionate about helping people and assisting people, is to be able to break free so that we can really embody and do our mission here on the planet in the biggest way possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And really knowing your sense of self. I just know how powerful that really is, because when you know who you are, and especially when you go into business, it allows you to attract the clients that you want to attract, because you know your sense of self, you know where you're coming from, that place of service. And in addition to that, it allows you to sort of have that solid foundation as well, so that, you know, yes, we can sort of sway a little bit, but we've got those deep-seated roots in within us as well, that's really going to help us keep us grounded and keep us on that pathway of where we're wanting to go.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about you, Christine, and I have from the moment I connected with you, is I was like, wow, this woman is embodied. She knows who she is. She's on her mission. She's doing it. She's living it. She's being it. And she's, you know, you created a life that you love, and that is of great service. So I just want to say thank you to that, for embodying that, for being that, and for encouraging that in others too. I really, really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. And look, it's been hard work. I'm not going to sit here and say to somebody that it's been a lot of hard work, but there's a saying that says easy come, easy go. And I'm such a big believer of that, because the hard work really sticks. And, you know, if it is hard, if it's uncomfortable, it's those life-changing sort of processes, those sort of foundations, building blocks that we use, that really makes that solid foundation that you're building your life on just rock solid. And, you know, it I don't know how else to describe it, but it is life changing. So I adore what you do, because I just know how much it's affected my life by, you know, getting through all those old stories and those old patterns and everything like that, and really creating that solid foundation. It's literally changed my life. So I love you. I respect you so much for what you're doing, because when people can go through that, they're just going to flourish so much more in life.
Thank you. Yes. And that's what, you know, that's why I'm so passionate about what I do, and why I love getting to do what I do and getting to witness the transformation. Absolutely.
Look, it has been such a pleasure having you on the show, and I'm really excited that everyone can go over and check your article out in the first launch issue of the Corporate Escapists magazine too. You shared just a beautiful story, and I just want to say thank you so much for being very vulnerable and open to sharing that with people, and really inspiring so many people around the world as well.
Thank you so much, Christine.
Oh, beautiful.
I want to
Oh, look, I'm so excited. I don't know what else to say, but the word excitement just does not match where I'm at the moment. So it's an incredible feeling, and I'm like very honored and blessed that you know, incredible women have come on, and you know, they're really sharing their stories to really inspire people and really create this sort of global conversation that needs to be had, so that we can really start to step into our own lane and really start living life to the fullest. And, you know, follow your passion, because, you know, there's so much more to life than, I guess, doing something that you're uninspired by.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's our birthright, right? To flourish and to live our life that is in complete alignment with our heart and our soul and our being.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, beautiful, for joining me. I want to thank everyone who has come and watched this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show. I'm going to leave all the details below, and you'll be able to check out all of the stories in the launch issue of the Corporate Escapists magazine. And I just want you all to live life to the fullest and follow your passion. So thank you for joining us.